This week is going to be a regular meditation rather than a yoga nidra. So, but ultimately, I really want you to be comfortable. So, if you find that you meditate easier lying down, then do that. If you find that you get really sleepy, then you might not want to do that. So why don't you just find a comfortable seated position or lying down, and we're going to begin, as we often do, with some breathing exercises. And let's just begin by working on our posture. So when you're sitting, if you're sitting in a chair, you can sit towards the front of the chair so that you're supporting your own back. For those of you that's uncomfortable, you can go ahead and sit back in the chair. You want your feet flat on the ground, ideally, and you want your spine upright, almost as if there was a string at the crown of your head here, kind of pulling the spine upwards so that it's upright but not rigid. And then, as I've said before, many people find it easier to go within and meditate with their eyes closed, but for some people that is triggering. And so if you notice that it's actually harder to focus and relax with your eyes closed, then go ahead and just keep your eyes open. But I would suggest not looking at the video screen, because watching me or anyone is going to just pull you out of yourself and be distracting. So if you're going to keep your eyes open, I would just suggest that you have your eyes gently downcast. So beginning with the posture, and your hands can be however they're comfortable. You might want to hold one hand in the other. You might want to have palms down, or some people will have palms up, or in a mudra, in a hand positioning like this, whatever is most comfortable for you. So let's begin by simply doing some deep belly breaths. So breathing in through the nose and intentionally directing the breath down into the abdomen. So you may want to put your hand on your abdomen to make sure that when you breathe in, your abdomen is pushing outwards. So the diaphragm pushes down and the belly pushes out with the in-breath. So let's try that a few times. If you're finding that when you breathe in, your belly button is sucking in, you're kind of breathing backwards. And many people do that because they're breathing up in their upper torso and upper lungs. And that looks more like. So if you're doing that, that's actually going to be counterproductive to relaxation. So see if you can breathe less with your shoulders and have the belly go outward with the in-breath. If that's difficult, you can actually practice that. And one way to do that is lying down, because you can feel the belly rising and falling a little bit easier when you're lying down. And then when you breathe out, the belly button retracts towards the spine. So we're going to begin with what Dr. Andrew Weil calls 4-7-8 relaxation breathing. And this is a great technique for very quickly calming the nervous system down, reducing anxiety and reducing stress. I think I may have shared this with you already, but a good friend of mine taught it to her mom, and her blood pressure actually came down within like a week or two, from where her doctor was concerned to a level where she doesn't need to take medications or anything for it. So it's quite a powerful technique for reducing stress, and pretty much all illnesses, most illnesses, I think I can say safely, are stress related. So um, yeah, if you have medical issues going on, certainly it's not going to hurt to reduce your stress levels and reduce that fight or flight tension in your body. So we're going to begin by breathing in through the nose for a count of 4. And for those of you that don't have breathing problems, so if you don't have asthma or COPD or emphysema or any other breathing difficulties, after that we'll do a breath hold for a count of about 7. If that's too long for you, shorten it. And then we're going to breathe out through the mouth slowly, very slowly, for a count of 8. So it'll be 4, 7, 8. You can mess with those numbers by changing it, but the idea is to keep the ratio the same. So meaning like you could switch to 3 in and 6 out, or 2 in and 4 out, but you want to keep that 1-to-2 ratio. And the breath hold can be really any length, whatever is comfortable. You don't want to strain because that's kind of counterproductive. So, and you can eliminate the breath hold altogether if you want to. I've been teaching it with the tip of the tongue behind the front teeth, just gently touching the roof of the mouth like that. And you want to make sure that your jaw isn't tightening up when you're doing that. I found that when I first started doing this, my jaw was really tightening, and it was counterproductive to the relaxation. So yeah, see if you can just practice putting the tongue behind the teeth, but not tensing your whole face. Kind of have to be really intentional about it. I could feel my cheek muscles and my eye muscles tighten as soon as I did that. So just be aware of that tendency. And if you're cutting out the breath hold because you have breathing problems, just do your own thing. And if you're doing the breath hold, then I'll be counting for you. And again, this is to relax the sympathetic nervous system, which is also what we call the fight, flight, or freeze part of our nervous system. And it's responsible for cortisol and adrenaline and all those things that we would need if we were running from a bear. But for chronic stress like COVID or illness or grief, it's really counterproductive and harmful to the body in the long run to have that much extra cortisol and adrenaline running through us. So that's why this works, is it actually calms down those on switches. All right, so get your tongue in place if you're going to do that part behind your front teeth. And for those of you that didn't hear my answer to this, I was told by someone who's a pranic healer, an energy healer, that we have energy meridians that run, I think it's up the front of the body and down the back of the body, or reversed. And the only place it doesn't connect is in the mouth. So when you put the tongue on the roof of the mouth, it connects those energy meridians. That's what I was told. So allow the tongue to be on the roof of the mouth and breathe out fully. And in through your nose, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out through the mouth slowly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Big in breath. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out through the mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Allow the breath to return to your normal breathing. Eyes closed or downcast. And just notice what's here. Notice the body, notice the breath. Notice if there's any difference in your awareness from before the breathing exercises to now. If there's not, no worries. But there may be a heightened sense of clarity or calm. And if there's not, after just doing 4 breath cycles, don't worry about it. This technique is a bit like a medicine with no side effects. The more you do it, the more you dose it, the more it actually works. And so if you're experiencing a lot of stress or anxiety or fear right now in your life, I would highly recommend doing 4 complete breath cycles on a regular basis, like setting an alarm on your phone for every 30 or 60 minutes and just doing it really consistently. If you do that for 2 or 3 weeks, let's say 3 weeks, because that's about how long it takes for brain changes to happen. Do it for 3 weeks very consistently. Andrew Weil says you really only need to do it morning and night, but I've really found that when people have significant anxiety or there's something really stressful going on in the world like there is now, that if you can do it 6, 8, 10 times a day, it's really going to affect your nervous system a lot. So staying inward, staying tuned in with your breath. And to even further our ability to arrive in the moment, be in the body, it's great to do some progressive muscle relaxation. Meditation is much easier when we're not feeling agitated in the body. So there are a lot of different things that you can do before meditation or to prepare for meditation. That's how many people use yoga postures, is to get the mind ready for meditation. It's what asana or yoga postures were actually originally meant for. So instead of that today, though, we're going to do some progressive muscle relaxation. So what I want you to do, I want you to start with your feet and your lower legs. And I'm going to have you tense up the muscles of your feet and lower legs. You're going to scrunch them all up, scrunch up your toes, contract your feet, contract your calves, tight, tight, tight. Keep them contracted a little bit longer. And now big deep in breath, and with the out breath, release the tension in your lower legs. Eyes closed if that's comfortable. Imagine your feet and your lower legs just melting into the ground or floor. Softening. And if there's still some tension there, don't worry about it. We're not commanding the body to do anything. We're just kind of inviting it to relax a little bit. So now move your awareness up to your upper legs, your thighs, and your hamstrings, and your glute muscles in your butt, and tighten the upper part of your legs and your glutes. Tighten, tighten. Holding that contraction so that the body can get a sense of, oh, this is muscle on and this is muscle off. And big deep breath in and release the contractions. Noticing the legs, awareness of the legs. And moving your awareness up to your abdomen, your belly, and your back. So your torso and your chest. So essentially your entire torso. Let's tighten all those muscles up. Belly muscles are tight. Back muscles are tight. And big deep breath in. Release through the mouth. And release all those muscles. Breathing, awareness as the torso. Now moving your awareness to your arms, hands, forearms, upper arms, and shoulders. And tightening up those muscles, clenching your fists, scrunching your shoulders up towards your ears, tightening all those muscles. And big deep in breath. Release with the out breath and allow the shoulders to drop, hands to relax. Tuning into the body. Now we're going to move awareness up to the face and the scalp and the head. And we're going to look funny for a moment. We're going to make some funny faces. still staying inwardly focused. And I want you to scrunch up your face, scrunch up your scalp. Tight, 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 tight. And deep breath in. Release all the tension with a big whoosh through the mouth. Feel the jaw drop. Feel your eyes drop back in their sockets. Noticing if you are holding any tension around the eyes and releasing that, forehead. And then tuning into the breath at the nose. Just noticing the very short pathway of breath from the tip of the nose to the bridge of the nose, or the area between the eyebrows is what it may feel like, the third eye area. Just following the sensations of breath from the tip of the nose to the third eye, or that area between the eyebrows, and then following the sensation of breath back out through the nose. We are practicing being the observer. So invariably the mind will wander to thoughts, to emotions, to body sensations, sounds, all totally normal, nothing to worry about, nothing to get stressed about. This is just what the mind does. And the practice of mindfulness meditation is noticing when the mind is wandered away from your chosen object of awareness, in this case, the breath, and gently noticing whatever it's wandered to and bringing awareness back to the breath. Noticing if you have a harsh or self-critical voice in your head, or you're getting frustrated with yourself. And again, that's just part of what you're noticing. That's just part of what's in your awareness. But knowing that it doesn't work to be harsh with yourself. That's not how human beings learn best. So seeing if you can soften the voice, seeing if you can be more gentle with yourself, knowing that that actually works better. It's just more skillful than being harsh, because when we're harsh, we trigger this whole cascade of shame and emotions, and it's very hard to come back to the breath then. You may start to notice that everything is changing all the time. Your thoughts are changing, body sensations are changing, sounds are changing, physical sensations. Everything's changing. And the only thing that isn't changing is awareness. So, the part in each one of us that is simply observing all of the changing phenomena, this is the part that has always been with us, will always be with us. And it's the part that we can practice resting in no matter what, no matter what's going on outside of us, no matter what kind of chaos or craziness is happening in the world. We can practice resting in awareness, observer, witness. These are some of the other words. It's almost like sometimes I'll imagine that I'm in a canoe and it's summertime and it's dawn, and I'm just sitting back in one of those comfy backrest canoe chairs, and I'm not paddling, I'm not doing anything. And I'm just observing as nature comes to life as the sun rises. And you start to see animals coming down to the water, the deer. You start to hear the birds. The wind starts to pick up a little bit. It's like this, except we're the witness for what's going on inside and outside. And the more you practice being in that witness seat, being in that pure, relaxed awareness, the easier it gets to come back to that place. It does help to do the breathing exercises and anything that can calm down the nervous system, because it's hard to access that place of relaxed awareness if all the chemicals in our body are screaming at us that things are unsafe. So that's why I would encourage you to do as many things right now that you find calm your body, calm your mind. And if you're finding it difficult to meditate today or in these times, I would say don't worry about it. And rather than beating your head against a wall trying to focus your mind and meditate, I would say move your attention to doing more of the relaxation practices, more yoga nidra, more yogic relaxation, more breathing exercises, more walks or hot baths or whatever it is that calms you. As you help yourself calm, you will have more access to that place within you that is always there, that relaxed awareness. Staying focused on the breath while my voice is in the background. breath and sound, both in awareness, not having to listen too hard, just trusting that you'll hear what you need to hear. I thought today we would practice a bit with uncertainty, given how prevalent uncertainty is for the entire planet right now, really. For those of you that really prefer to just stay with your breath in a quiet meditation without any talking, I would invite you to just mute me or turn the volume way down, and that's totally fine if that's your intuition for today. Or if you find the instructions don't seem to apply to you, then go ahead and turn the volume down after a few moments. So for those of you that have been noticing lately that you've been struggling with uncertainty, and you might notice that you're becoming irritable or angry or feeling a lack of control. You might notice that your mind feels like it's grasping at the future, like it's trying to figure out what's going to happen next and when it's going to happen. Or your mind might be going into the past and rethinking or regretting. So these are all incredibly normal tendencies as a human being. But when the collective consciousness is experiencing so much stress and upheaval and change as it is right now, all of these tendencies are going to be heightened. So if you're struggling right now, please know you're not alone. Very, very normal. And there is something that you can do about it. And it's not by changing the external environment, not in most cases. It's about changing the internal environment. It's about working, not even changing, but it's about working with the internal environment. So, for the next few moments, what I want you to be aware of is whether the mind is going out into the future, making a grocery list, trying to plan. And actually, you know what? Let's intentionally do that. Let's invite the mind to try to figure out the future as an exercise. Because this is all about just becoming aware of how different thoughts affect us. So I want you to intentionally call to mind something that you've been worried about lately, something that you want to figure out, and you've noticed that your mind is trying to figure it out. You've noticed your mind is trying to logic it out. So get in touch with that thought or that memory of you doing that. And as soon as you have a clear memory or thought in your mind of trying to logic out the future or make sense of it or plan for it, see if you can let go of the thoughts and drop into your body, drop into the emotions, and notice how you're feeling right now, especially in your throat, chest, and abdomen. Notice that those energy centers. And notice the mind. Does the mind feel calm? Does the mind feel busy and anxious? Just observing. Good. Now we're going to go into the past. I want you to recognize something that your mind is often ruminating about or regretting or reliving or rehashing. And I want you to call that to mind. Again, this is all very human. That's why we all know what I'm talking about. You're not alone in the way that your mind does this. We all do this. So call to mind something that you rehash a lot or you relive or you regret. Call it to mind vividly so that you can start to feel it in your body. If you start to notice that you're feeling numb or you can't access the body or the feelings, it may just be that it's too much. It may be that your ego is protecting you a little bit because it just feels like too much right now, and that's okay. And you can always just return to your breath, return to the gentle in and out of your breathing. For those of you that can stay with this, though, when you have this past thing in your mind, now see if you can drop the thinking around it, drop the story, and just feel into your body. See what your body feels like. Notice what the mind is like. Notice their emotions. Notice your throat, your chest, and your belly. Notice your level of muscle tension. Notice if your face is tightened. Notice if your shoulders have risen. Good. Now I want you to take 3 deep belly breaths in through the nose with a big, deep cleansing sigh out the mouth. Three more. Imagining that you can release everything about the past and everything about the future that you've called to mind just through the out breath. You're not pushing it away, you're just like opening your palms and letting it go. Now come to focus on just this breath, just this moment. Mind wanders, no problem. Just come back to the breath. The breath is now. It's not past, it's not future. Just right now. Invite the body to soften with the out breath. Invite the jaw to drop and the eyes to fall back into their sockets. Notice how your body feels with the intention to just focus on one breath at a time. It's from this space of present moment awareness that your intuition can drop in, that more of a knowing and a higher wisdom can drop in. We cannot figure out the future in our minds, in our logic, especially right now. Things are shifting. The paradigm is shifting from one of trying to power through and logic everything out to a much gentler way of being with ourselves, where instead of pushing through and trying to figure out everything with our brains don't have access to the higher wisdom that awareness does. Awareness is connected to everything. Awareness is connected to your higher wisdom, to your intuition. Some might call it soul or spirit. Although you certainly don't need to be religious or believe in anything to experience how, when you drop into the present moment, when you really drop in, the mind begins to calm, the body begins to calm. And when you get going about trying to figure out the future, trying to logic it out, if your mind is anything like mine, it just gets very, very anxious. And I think it's because we don't have access to all of that wisdom when we're just using our cognitive brains. So I would invite you to join me over the next week and really make a practice out of this. A practice of when you notice your mind going into the future or into the past, that you catch it. You catch it as quickly as you can. And you may develop a mantra like right here, right now, or it may be as simple as 3 deep breaths. But see how that goes this week and notice the effects it has on you. We're moving into an age where it's going to be more about trust and surrender and less about figuring it all out. Because the more we can trust and surrender to our higher wisdom, to our higher power, whatever you want to call it, the more we're going to be making choices from a place of true compassion, a place of love and kindness. And that's just going to ripple outwards and affect everything. So I would really invite you to practice this. It's probably one of the most important practices in this time, is to learn how to just be right here and right now, and that's it. And the wisdom about the future will come. It will come in those moments of stillness when you're really connected to now. When you're really connected to now, the future does take care of itself. I'm sure you've all had the experience of just knowing that something was the right thing to do. And those intuitions and that power can drop in much more easily when we're practicing being right here, right now, being present with the people and the things around us, what we're doing in the moment. It's this time is calling for constant meditation. And what I mean by that is constant present moment awareness. It's the way we can help ourselves right now. Because going into the future or into the past, it's not helping. It's making things very difficult. So with that, went a little bit over. I hope you have such a good week. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to dedicate the merit of our practice today. May the fruits of our practice today and all the collective energy that's being generated by each being that has taken this time, may it spread outwards in all directions and help all sentient beings, all beings know the true causes of happiness, the true way, the true path to freedom. Namaste. Thank you so much.